And it's fully 85.
Yep.
Hell, man. Whoa! Welcome to another episode of 0 to 60. On today's one, we're doing something pretty damn cool, and I'm excited about it. We're fitting the Dorch Engineering Stage 2 high-pressure fuel pump to the N55 powered M2. Now this car, if you've been around on the channel for a while, you could have seen it in some of the videos we did on its exhaust. It's got a full IPE system, and it just sounds wicked. This car's actually been running Bootmod for nearly 2 years now, and it's one of the most exciting Turbo M cars I've ever been in. But it's not a wild powerhouse, and we're hoping to sort that out today with the Dorch pump and get it running on a full E85 tune. Now that's actually come about because the video that we actually did on this car a few years ago was just the stage 1. The owner upgraded to the stage 2 Bootmod 3 tune. It's been going pretty good, but as he's recently moved near an ethanol pump, he's been doing some E30 blends, and unfortunately on the Bootmod 3 OTS tune, the high pressure fuel pump just starts to struggle. He's actually getting high pressure fuel pump dips, and that's what he's going to try and sort out with this. And he's been watching my car with the full E85 series, and he's got the bug. So he's gone for the stage 2 pump, and this is one of the few pumps that will allow full E85 through the direct injection system. So guys, let's get it installed and see what it does. So one of the things that the owner particularly liked about the Dorch kit was just, well, how inclusive it is. It's got new hard lines, low pressure to high pressure fuel pump lines, and basically all fittings, adapters and hardware that you need to fit it into the car. And I've just got to say, looking at this kit quickly, it is all like very, very good quality. And so it should be for something that's 3,000 Australian dollars. It's more than a lot of N54s are worth. But yeah, got some nice billet aluminium. They've put their logos on things, and it's quite a nice looking logo. It should look all pretty good when it's all installed. And they also have a wonderful install guide on their website, which we will link below, but we'll show you how we go through with the process and if we find anything interesting. But yeah, that's what comes in the box. It's just time to get it done. Okay, so we've got the top shroud off. It's actually pretty easy. You just took our time. This is the first time we've ever taken one off of an M2, so apologise if the instructions are a bit back to front. But it's basically, you've got these two covers on the two outer corners. It's got three, like 8mm nuts that you only need to turn half, and then they'll actually pop off nice and easy. Once you've got that off, you remove the rubber trim that goes over the top sort of cross member piece, and then you've got access to the E85 Torx bolts, which hold the main strut bar in. And then you've just got 10mm bolts which hold this cover in, and then you can get the little piece of sound deadening, and you have this full access here. However, now we're into the deeper work. Basically, we need to get access to the high pressure fuel pump. Now, I do know some people do that. The fuel pump is just under there. Some people can do this without taking the intake manifold off, apparently. But for ease's sake, that's the right word, we are going to take the intake manifold off. But we also need to get rid of a few of these hoses and electrical wires. I'm going to start by disconnecting the, I can't remember if that's intake or map sensor in these, but remove that sensor there, these two T25 Torx bits, and that will help remove that bracket. We've got to remove the vacuum lines, which should all be quick disconnects. And we've got to remove the fuel tank vent valve, and of course the throttle body and the charge pipe. So I'm going to get on with that. If I find anything that's unusual or complicated, I will give you an update, but if not, hopefully you'll see us next time when we've got everything off. Okay, so I thought I'd give you a bit of an update because getting to this stage took a fair bit longer than we were anticipating. I have the throttle body off and actually come in close and let's show everyone, which I might just steal it. So what we've basically done, and all the guides that we looked at so far were different to this vehicle. It could have been because they were for the non-M cars, they were M235s, not the M2s, or it could be because this is right-hand drive. But regardless, getting access to the intake manifold, we've removed these 3 plugs from this side of the ECU, and that's just, well, it's really just let us get all the wiring out the way. This wire here, hope the lighting works, that connector there, that connector still does not want to come out, and I didn't want to damage the connector, so I've actually undone it from that port over there on the rocker cover, and that's got this line out the way. These lines will all be up out the way, and we should be good to take the intake manifold off. Aside from that, getting the throttle body off was also a bit of a nightmare with the 4 10mm bolts, but once we got the charge pipe off and out the way, we could get the ratchet across the throttle body to undo that corner one. But we are now actually at the point where we should have enough clearance to take the intake manifold off. So let's do that and we'll get our first look at the high pressure fuel pump. Okay, so I had misread the instructions. The ECU, and I didn't realize, is actually connected to the intake manifold. So all but this one connector is disconnected from the ECU, and I hope once we've got it out, we'll be able to work out why that one last connector didn't want to come out. But we should be able to pull it out with this line. All the bolts are off of the, well, the 2 bolts and the 5 nuts are off of the intake manifold, the 11 mils. So it's a matter of seeing if she wants to come up and what stuff's in the way. It looks like lots of wiring is in the way. No. We're going to have to rethink and get some more clearance, I think. So all of this is still definitely in the way. Yeah, that held up. We're clipped on at the back. We are clipped on at the back. How does that unclip? Is it even a clip? Comes up. Okay. That'll be it. Up with that wiring. Down with that wiring. Okay, that's now free. We'll try again. Got some weight on it with the ECU. There we go. Now I'm just going to lean it over. There are no additional vacuum lines that we weren't expecting. Got a clip on there. It's a push clip, so it will just need to be encouraged. It's going to have to get forced out. Sorry, Declan, it needed to be forced. Okay, so what's connected? It doesn't feel like anything else is connected. Just that one clip. Cool, so we have the ECU. Can't believe it's right there next to the engine. Okay, so I wanted to have a quick update. We actually did an Instagram post just as we started this job earlier, and Dorch got in contact, amazingly, asking us to check the fitting on the end of the low pressure line. Now, they had an issue where 3 or 4 of the low pressure line hoses that they sent out in their kits were actually, the manufacturer had given us slightly incorrect fittings. So the specs on the fitting were right, but they just won't clip into the factory line. I've never seen any manufacturer of any product be on the ball so quickly. Yeah, so hats off to Dorch. They notified us of the problem. They offered us compensation on labour. They're going to express mail out the parts. I genuinely can't believe how well they've handled that. It is an obvious simple mistake, but the fact that they actually care enough to do what they've done is awesome. In the meantime, we've just used an aftermarket fitting from a local store. The only thing I don't like about it is just adding another right angle and another join. So what we'll do, we'll get the correct line from Dorch and add it later on. This won't leak. This is very similar to what a lot of guys run. Anyone that's got port injection's got this many connections, but it'd be nice just to have the full Dorch kit in there once it's all finished. Aside from that, we're now at the point where it's actually mounting the new high pressure fuel pump. Now these high pressure fuel pumps, they have a different mounting bolt point to the original, and Dorch supply this flange here and a spacer. So the first part we've got to do is bolt the flange on, and the spacer actually aligns everything perfectly. I'm going to need 2 hands for that, so I'll switch to the other camera. So I hope you can see me all right. We have the alignment tool and the adapter plate going in here. And they need to be torqued up to, what was it? 12 Newton meters. But we do need to use the right bit. Okay. Boom, that's in. Everything's aligned perfectly, and we can actually get on to mount the pump. Okay, so with the adapter plate in place, it's now time to do the actual fuel pump itself. So I'm going to connect it to the low pressure line, because there's no way that fitting is going to get done up once it's in. We can sort of starting to go down into place, and we'll get the bolt started. Now this is a step that Dorch are very clear in the instructions about being careful with. You need to tighten the pump up evenly between the 2 bolts, or else there is a risk of damaging the main shaft, I guess. Even clearance to the high pressure line is going to be tight to get to. You couldn't fit a much bigger pump in this space. Okay, so both of those are now tensioned on the pump, but the pump is still about 3 to 4 mil higher than it should be. And this is the part where you go half a turn at a time to lower the pump down into place.
Actually, the way it works is this slides in like that.
Gotcha. You should be right.
So yeah,
I'm going to torque it. Is so not tight. Okay. So we just got the high pressure line going in, which is awfully tight, but there is clearance everywhere. So we have high pressure line on. So we've got the low pressure and the high pressure line on. We're getting close. I'm going to torque these up with a 17mm spanner, which I put somewhere. Probably not. So I'll just torque this high pressure fuel line back up. Declan's got the electrical connector connected. I think once that's done, it's just a matter of double checking the fuel lines and we can start putting everything back together. Okay guys, so we've just done the first startup. Actually, you do have to reset the Bootmod 3 settings for the Dorch pump, which we have done. The car started pretty well, apart from a little bit of coughing and spluttering. And I'm just being super careful to make sure we don't have any fuel leaks, which are my biggest fear when you do anything with the fuel line. And everything looks okay, and it seems to be running quite well. So I'm going to close that video off there. The installation was really pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any reason not to attempt it yourself. As long as you've got a torque wrench, you can't really mess anything up. I guess the only thing I wanted to add, I cannot believe how well Dorch responded to having that wrong fitting on the fuel line. We've used a temporary one for now, and I say temporary, it'll probably never get changed, but yeah, I was actually really surprised with how on the ball they were when they found out somebody might be fitting one of these kits that wasn't right. And look, things like this do happen. It would have been a supplier, and I bet the part number for the fitting was correct. It's just the way the fitting was designed it was just slightly wrong length. Yeah, we're going to take it for a run. It's running 98 tune at the moment. We're going to make sure everything's fine. If there is an issue, I will update this video. If not, you'll see us again once we've got it on E85 and we'll go and put it through its paces. Thank you very much for watching. If you're attempting this at home or you've just bought one of these kits and you've got any questions, shoot us a message. Yeah, it was all pretty straightforward. We didn't really have any problems apart from that line being wrong. Anyway guys, look, thank you very much for watching. We will catch you on the next one.